It's 2017 and it's mental. Yay! And I want to start my year on YouTube with the career series.
Nothing can stop me or hold me back.
And this is a series where I plan to interview my friends and my family members who work in various different industries and fields to try and help you decide what you want to do with your future. Okay, and to kickstart this series, I'm interviewing my friend who I knew at school, and she works in an investment bank. So here we go. I hope you're blessed and you enjoy.
Hi.
Alright, I want you to meet Comfort.
Hi.
And so yeah, how do we know each other?
We met on the very first day of school.
I
We were
know.
11 years old. And we ran into each other on the bus. We spoke briefly and never spoke again.
Yeah, for like the next 3 years.
Yeah, but then we put in the same set and we became friends with them.
Yeah, in year 9. So Comfort, what do you do? What is...
So, I am an investment banker. I work within emerging markets as kind of my specialty, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been working as a banker for about 2.5 years now.
Cool.
Coming up to 3 years in the summer.
Nice. So why did you want to go into investment banking?
For a number of... Oh, sorry, that sounds
For a
really...
number of reasons.
When I was in sixth form, my cousin was staying with us and he was doing banking and all at the time. And he kept talking about investment banking and he just found it really interesting because he was studying it.
Sure.
And I guess he was the first person that kind of introduced me to
Yeah,
it. I'd
yeah.
never even heard of it, I guess, before then. And so when I was in year 13, I went to... One of the banks was having like a 2 days A-level girls program. And I applied and got in, and it was just basically an introduction to banking and the diversity of the different roles and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But why I actually decided to stick with it, I think, is because, firstly, the money appealed to me. I'm not gonna lie, that's the money did appeal to me. I wanted a good salary. 2, I think it was also the diversity of the markets, which I found really interesting. I think the skill set, it was quite mathsy. I was really into maths at the time. But also at the same time, you need like people skills and interaction and managing different relationships. And I thought that was great. So I love the combination of the kind of the sales kind of side of it as well as the technical side and combined. And in a high pressure environment, you learn a lot of skills. It looks good on your CV. So
yeah, and I can vouch for that because I actually went into banking because of the same thing, because I was good at maths and people skills. But I think the reason why I didn't do it was because I wasn't genuinely interested in markets. Yeah. Like I was on the rates desk and there was talking about obviously bond yields going up and down. And I was just like, I don't care. And I always felt out of my comfort zone because I did history at uni.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I don't care whether this thing goes up or down, like, you know. So I feel like you need to have a genuine interest in the politics, the economics of everything in order to really stick with it. And obviously, what did you study at uni?
Economics and politics,
Yeah. Yeah, economics and politics. So,
but having said that quickly, you don't have to have studied like accounting or finance or anything like that, but you have to have an interest in it, obviously.
Sure. Yeah, like, you know, I went there, people studied chemistry, maths, all this stuff. But like for me, I think you definitely need some sort of maths, even if it's A-levels. So I did A-level maths. But yeah. Also, obviously you've worked there for 2 to 3 years now.
Yeah.
So what would you say was the 3 like main personality traits that you see around you? Like, what kind of character goes into investment banking?
I think someone who is, number one, self-motivated.
Okay, so break that down. What do you mean by that?
So, as in, no one has to tell you to do the job to the best of their ability. You do it because you put in the extra effort because that's just the kind of person you are.
Okay, so if you're that person, then this job might be for you.
It's not like, someone has to be like, oh, have you done this project? Yeah, or do this. Like, the kind of people that go into investment banking and more importantly, I guess, stay and don't like get kicked out is the people who are like self-motivated. Like,
so they're like uber driven.
Yeah, you're driven. Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you're gonna be like at 100% all the time. Obviously, you're a human being, but you have that kind of drive within yourself. I think someone who's obviously hardworking. Okay. And what would the last person? I think someone who's quite persistent as well. Okay. I don't. Yeah, someone who can get beaten down but pick themselves up. And I say that because I feel like something I've noticed is like a personality trait I've noticed is that say you're kind of given an impossible task to do. Like, or it's just really difficult and it's just really high pressured. There'll be some people that are like, screw it, this is not worth it. You know what? I'm out, right?
Yeah.
And then there's other people that will be like, I know this sucks, and I know you're being unreasonable and asking me too much, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to still pursue it anyway, just because that's the kind of person I am. Yeah. And I think the latter is the kind of trait I notice within investment bankers. They'll ask, you get a lot of, you get a lot of tasks and a lot of work and given, and it's like, how are you meant to juggle all this, but you just persist with it anyway.
And it's amazing because you say that. I know, I actually asked you about this, but I know 3 people who tried to go into investment banking and then kind of flopped in like the initial stage. So we got internships at like really good banks and stuff like that. But these 3 people didn't. And I asked you, where are they now? And they're in investment banking because you literally
just kept going.
you keep going until you get it.
Yeah.
And those are the type of people who stay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's inspiring. So, if you were to describe your day to day, like what do you actually do every day? Like,
so it is quite varied. I know that's quite a generic answer, but a lot of meetings. I have a lot of meetings with salespeople, with traders. I write some reports. I do a lot of data analysis, put together presentations. Really anything that's needed by the business, and
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of.
Okay.
I don't know if that's helpful, but yeah.
Huh?
I don't know if that's helpful, but yeah.
No, it's good. Okay, what's the best thing about your job?
One thing that I love about where I work is that I can never say, "Oh, that person's an idiot and they don't know what they're doing." Like I'm. Like genuinely, sometimes in awe of the people that awe is quite a strong word, but like there's a lot of very clever people, and I'm like, how is it that we're in the same place? Like there's a lot of clever people, and I love being surrounded in that environment.
Wow.
And obviously, like, we're compensated very well, so that doesn't hurt.
But isn't that quite intimidating? Because for me, like, I remember when I went to uni, I got 4 A's in my A-levels, and my first lecture, the lecturer came in and was like, 97% of the people in this room got 3 A's. Like, for me, that to someone who's like uber confident, that's like, oh wow, I'm like amongst my own. Yeah. But for me, I felt so intimidated.
I agree. When I first started, I was like, I'm not qualified at all to be here. Like, I think it's one of those things that you just have to realize that you're as good as everyone else because they picked you for a reason. They wouldn't have. You wouldn't have got the job unless, they saw something within you and saw potential.
Sure.
So when I first started, and I think particularly during the internship, I kept doubting myself and looking at everyone else and all the experience, and everyone's gone to like private school and, have family in banking and all that kind of stuff. But, I got a lot of encouragement from people at church and my family that, you're here for a particular reason and to achieve a particular purpose there. And you just have to believe that and remind yourself of that. Yeah.
So, what's the worst thing about your job?
The hours are long. I think people who want to go into investment banking, you have to be prepared that you're going to be there you're going to see your colleagues more than you see your family and more than you see your friends. Yeah. On average, let's say I work on a day, I probably work 10 hours. It could go up to like 13 hours. Wow. Yeah. Some days 14 if it's a really, really tough day. But the hours are long.
Tell me of a misconception about banking. That you kind of went into the job because you're like, oh my god, it's like this.
I think if you watch movies like Wolf of Wall Street, you think everyone's like,
The Big Short.
Exactly, The Big Short, those kind of movies, and you expect there to be this, what's it called, muddles and buttles and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, people working in investment banks are normal people, like just everyday people that have families and kids. So it's nothing at all like, going into the Wolf of Wall Street. So that's definitely a misconception. Stuff like, I'm going to stab this person in the back. That kind of really callous attitude that's kind of brought out in films and media and that kind of stuff. People are very competitive, but in a way that they just want to work hard and do the best that they can, but not in the typical stab you in the back kind of way that's showed in TV,
Okay. Tell me a time when you wanted to shout at the top of your lungs because you were so
God.
angry or frustrated or you wanted to cry.
Times where... So you might get in a situation where it's a very dynamic environment, a lot going on. It's a high-pressured environment as well. So there may be I've been in situations where one person's asking for work and they're saying it's super, super urgent. Another person's asking for work and they're saying it's super, super urgent. And it's a case where you just need to get it done. Nobody cares necessarily how you go about it, but it just needs to be done.
Wow. So how do you deal with that?
I think one thing is speaking to someone more on your team, like a manager, line manager or something, and being like, I've been told both things are urgent, which one do I prioritise? And someone should always be willing to kind of help you through the situation.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, at that point in time, you just feel really like pressured and really, you know. Yeah.
Really intense.
Yeah, intense. Yeah. So I've been in those kind of situations where I just wanted to cry, but
yeah. You know. My next set of questions is basically aimed at those people who want to pursue a career in banking. What would you say was the most difficult interview question you got, or kind of like ridiculous? Because they'll be like, how many coffee shops are in America? You know.
I got asked. I remember one of my first interviews. I got asked, "What's the angle of the clock at 12:15?" And see if anyone can get that right.
Okay, we'll put the answer in the description. Yeah. I'm just trying to work it out, isn't it? 12:15.
Yeah.
I think I know, but
say it then.
No, but it sounds too easy. 90 degrees. No. Yeah, 90 degrees.
No, it's not.
Oh, I knew that.
It's not. But
okay,
yeah.
We'll put the answer down below. I'm intrigued to know the answer. So, with regards to, obviously, you're a student preparing. So, how many hours did you put in to prepare per week?
Honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell you per week, but it was a lot. It was a lot. I remember I was studying at Birmingham and I had interviews. I was in London basically every weekend or every other weekend for like networking events, for interviews, just to meet up with people, to do interview prep. Like I put in a lot of work and a lot of money actually, because all that travelling back and forth.
Sure.
But,
that's what I say. You have to really want it. You know what I mean? It's honestly like not.
And I think for me, the reason I put in, because I didn't really have people that were in bank. It's different if, you know, your whole family's in banking, you have cousins and whatever. But I didn't really have, you know, family, you know, friends or relatives that were in investment banking. So I kind of had to just use the network that I had and try and build my network by going to these kind of networking events. Yeah.
Sure. And just shout out, we were both part of SCA and they really helped.
SCA London,
they really helped. It's for ethnic minorities, but just
and rare recruitment as well helped. So.
And rare recruitment. What do you think made you stand out?
Oh, I was told in my interview it was my confidence. When I had my initial interviewer, I saw his name. It was like a Swedish name. So the first thing I asked him was like, oh, he said his name. I was like, oh, are you from Sweden? And he said, yeah, he said he was from Lund, place in Sweden. And we was like, I was born there, so we kind of developed and talked about that.
Sure.
So he liked that I'd kind of, I wasn't seeing like, oh, hi, nervous, shaking, you know, when you come into interview and you're like kind of doubting yourself. It was like quite, you know, forward straight away, and he liked that. Like, if he felt as if like I deserved to be there, as opposed to do you know what I mean? As in, I don't deserve to be here, but here I am, scuttling in, nervous. But whereas he felt like, oh, she actually knows what she's talking about. She's here to show me something. So that's good. That's what I love my feedback when I got the internship.
That's awesome. So tell us of a time where it's been like the most challenging. Like, what's the most challenging things that you've faced, and how did you overcome it?
I think the most challenging...
So, like, that's, like, internship, everything. Like, your 3 years of working.
I think the most challenging thing was definitely the internship. I think because that was my first proper introduction into investment banking, and it was just a different world to what I was used to. Different kinds of people, different environment. And I think the kind of people that did the internship were very good at boasting about themselves, or highlighting their strong points. Let's say that way, highlighting their strong points. And very good at like, oh, I met this person. Oh yeah, I had dinner with this person. It was so lovely. He really liked me. And they just did it in such a way that you'd feel really bad about yourself. Like, oh my, I'm not meeting anyone. I'm not knowing anyone. I don't really know anyone.
Sure.
And it was I'd say the internship was 10 weeks. So the first 5 weeks was like a real adjustment period for me. I just felt like I was in a different world basically, and I just. You know, it was tough. And then I think just, again, being surrounded by encouraging friends and family, and obviously praying as well really helped. And I just kind of had to force myself to accept that, you know, I'm here for a reason. Like, it's, you know, whether, you know, I'm meant to do just the 10 weeks or whether it's going to convert into a full-time role. For the time I'm there, I got to make something of it. And I think that helped me along the way.
And obviously, like, you're still surrounded by, you know, it may not be to the extent where, like, everyone around you is, like, boasting, but you still find those sorts of people in the workplace, whether it's banking or, you know, elsewhere. So how did you adjust to that? Is it just the fact that you need to be confident in yourself and your ability?
100%. I think it's a matter of not comparing yourself to other people. And once you stop doing that, I think life becomes a bit easier. Why I found it so tough is just because I kept feeling, like, relative to the other people. I'm not good enough. I don't know as much as they do.
Yeah.
I can't network as well as they can network. But once you stop comparing yourself to everyone, it takes off a lot of pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So last question. What's the best piece of advice you've been given / you'd give to other people? So if you could say one thing to someone out there.
Talk about pressure.
The big wide world.
Best piece of advice I have been given
/ or you'd give to somebody else and just pass on.
Okay, the best piece of advice I would give to somebody is preparation. I don't know, it doesn't sound as impressive as I thought it would. But it's true. I think it's preparation. I really think that if you're somebody who can take the time out to research the roles within investment banking, the skill set needed with investment banking, listen to other people's experiences. I think if you can take the time to it will show. I think it will reflect in an interview. Someone who's actually done their research versus someone who's just decided to stroll up there. One thing that I found that during like networking events or interview practice is we'd go around the table and someone would be like, so why do you want to go into investment banking? The people that said, oh, I'm not really sure, I just think it might be, some vague answer, I'm not really sure, I just think it might be interesting, they never got it. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it's just like, even if you're not sure, don't say
that.
Don't say that. Like, I think preparation is key. And that's what I would say for someone wanting to go into investment banking. Don't take that for granted.
Yeah. Alright, thanks Comfort for featuring on my channel. And I hope that helps somebody out there who's, either applying or just is just considering investment banking in the future. But yeah, awesome. Thanks for watching and have a lovely day. God bless. Bye. Remember having spoken to a couple of my friends, when I tell them about how I've got a job now, I'm doing this, doing that, and they hear that I get a 2-2, they're just like really surprised. They're like, what? You got a 2-2 and you've got a job? Like, what is this? So yeah, I'm just here to encourage anyone out there who didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve, but I'm just saying there is hope. So